No.
Speak right into it, like that. Is that too muffled? I wasn't crying earlier, incidentally. I've got dreadful hay fever and weak tear ducts. For those of you I've not met, my name's Steve. I'm the best man. And as you know, it's customary for the best man to say a few words. So I prepared a brief speech, which I'll occasionally glance down at, because I have pretty much learnt this inside out. For me, a best man speech is very much like making love to a beautiful woman, in that it very rarely happens to me. It's not likely to happen again anytime soon. And it'll probably take about 6 minutes. It might also end with me crying. I first became aware of the enigma that is Tim Arnold when my family moved into the house next door in Bolshoi. He used to skateboard outside the house, used to annoy my mother, and we caught the same bus to school. It was a bus that he frequently missed, despite living directly next door to the bus stop. I think this is it's definitely one of Tim's character traits. I think is his terrible timekeeping. I was surprised to see him arrive almost on time at the ceremony today. But if you know him, you will have found yourself waiting for him at some point, there's no doubt. I don't recall exactly how we became friends, but in my early teens I spent hours sat in his room reading Metal Hammer. I had no interest in heavy metal at the time. Whilst Tim played electric guitar. I guess you're alright at it, actually. At the time he had hair down to his nipples, terrible acne, and trousers so tight you could see... I could say his religion, but that doesn't make that right. No, you can do it. Guitar was one of the first of Tim's hobbies and interests that he's had over his 35 years. There's been many others. I'm going to read through a few. Skateboarding, playing the drums, herb gardening, drinking heavily, disco dancing, DJing, party organising, drinking heavily, other men, and carpentry. Most recently, and perhaps most expensively, photography and cycling. In fact, I think it's fair to say that your generous contributions towards the honeymoon will in part be spent on a camera or a bike. Or a bike with a camera on it. Or a camera that you can ride like a bike. Our friendship blossomed, and I think I quickly became a familiar face when Emma, Sue or Dave answered the front door at 7 o'clock precisely every single evening. Tim had a great bunch of mates and a funny little sister, and although I was aware of these people, although I was already aware of these people, I think it was through my friendship with Tim that I gained the best group of mates I could possibly wish for. That's sentimental, don't know. Tim struggled with motivation through college and quickly decided to throw in the towel to focus on a unique and dynamic career opportunity that came up: cleaning his parents' house. The hours were 11:30 till 2, with a generous lunch hour. But I think the pressure of this job took its toll. It took its toll after about 2 years, and Tim decided to move on to pastures new. He'd always dreamed of working at Minutes. But sadly, this job came to an abrupt end when he had to walk out over a dispute regarding marker pens and the way they made him feel a bit funny. Working at Zenith Windows had always been a dream of Tim's, and through sheer drive and determination, he was able to make that dream a reality. He enjoyed the work and was happy there until another once-in-a-lifetime opportunity came up. Tim had always dreamed of cleaning Adam Brooks Hospital. Around the time Tim and I went our separate ways to the university towns of Derby and Sheffield, a transformation happened. Tim became #1 party guy all of a sudden. He was extremely enthusiastic about house music. He bought some turntables and started DJing, as did I. And I think it was through our mutual love of the music and perhaps the party scene that made our friendship grow even stronger. Where am I? I'd like to tell you a few stories about those hedonistic years, but sadly a recent super injunction restricts me from repeating any of them. A bit disappointed when Will mentioned the injunction earlier. I thought about dropping it, but I left it in. After a few years of living and partying in Oxford, he was drawn towards the white heat of the city and moved to London to seek his fortune. He found the perfect job which gave him the flexibility he needed to be able to lie in bed most of the time. That's a job that he's managed to hold down to this day. And a job that allows him to sort of focus on his more creative side. I believe there's some flyers for Timothy Arnold Photography at the back, and you might be able to get a special discount rate. He bought a small flat in South London, and as soon as he'd finished transforming what was essentially a cave into a nice one-bedroom flat, he decided to set about finding the future Mrs. Arnold. As you know, Tim and Lou met via the internet. I remember Tim's initial stalking of Lou. He proudly showed me photographs of her, and when the big day came around, I think he used eye brightening drops to create the illusion that he had bright eyes that had vitality in them rather than the piss holes he actually had. I think he also may have used a sunbed to disguise his pale and blotchy complexion. I'm not sure how he disguised the fact his body resembled a bin bag full of yoghurt, but before Lou had an opportunity to notice his many physical defects, she'd fallen for his charm and his alluring musk. That's an alluring musk that I've since seen make Lou physically gag. It's very easy to mock, of course, especially where Tim is concerned. But in all seriousness, he's become like a brother to me over the years. Hang on. We could probably just skip this bit, actually. In all seriousness, his drive and enthusiasm for life truly inspires me. He's been there for me countless times, and I sometimes think he knows me better than I know myself. Hay fever. Has anyone got any... It's really playing up. I took to Louise instantly as well, actually. She seemed comfortable mocking me straight from the off. And my witty anecdotes seemed to go down quite well as well, which always is a good thing for me. She very quickly became a true friend and a free therapist as well, when I needed one, which, as you can see, is fairly frequently. going back to what I think Will was saying about her many sides, there's two main sides I know to Lou. There's the gentle, thoughtful, kind side, the side that snuggles up with a tatty old bear that she's had since a child in the evenings. And then there's the side I like to call Scrappy Doo, when she's had a couple of pints. And what of it, she'll say as she pokes you in the chest, picking a fight. I know it's a cliche, but I genuinely can't think of a couple more suited than Tim and Lou. Tim and I have often joked about life being all about making your friends envious of what you have, and without wanting to sound embarrassingly interested in Louise for myself. Tim, you've done really well to find someone as beautiful as she is inside and out. You're probably tired of doing so, but I'd like to propose another toast to the bride and groom. Love you guys.